Hello everyone and welcome back to English 1510, Composition 1, Online Asynchronous at Open Community College. We're heading into week 5 here for the overview. There are a couple of different things I just want to make reiterations on for students. Remember, in the overviews each week, sometimes they're used in more than one course, sometimes, not often, but even in more than one semester. So just please pay attention to the dates on your itinerary and what your schedule with OCC online services. I list mine as week schedules as opposed to strict dates besides the assignment schedules because of that fact. There are times where 8-week, 12-week, and 16-week or 15-week are the same videos with different section numbers. Remember that you may see A1235 or 1232 up here or 1210. Whatever the case may be, you're paying attention to your upcoming events and assignment schedule for yours, because not all the classes start on the exact same date. Just please remember that as you're going through. All right. I also want to remind students that in starting these courses, we're little over a third of the way through for most students, and these semesters are coming up on a third of the way through, and some students, it does not seem that they understood what they were getting into or didn't plan accordingly. The online readiness, a course that you had to take before entering into any online async course, included the instructions and course requirements of having Microsoft Word, even if it's a 365 free account, having access to a device, having access to the internet itself. If those things are tangible and you know that you can have those things throughout the course, that's great. If you have issues with access or devices or anything along those lines, that is still the student responsibility. We do offer services here at the campuses, and we also have facilities, including the ASC that has computers and tutoring, and the library has computers available for students. So if you need to make arrangements to have access to a device and things like that, that is on the student still to be responsible for those things. We don't make adjustments for online, particularly online asynchronous, because students have a difficult time navigating D2L or understanding the platform. That is entirely on the student, and that's why we offer an array of different layouts for the courses and the delivery systems. We have online asynchronous, which these courses are, which means the student is responsible for following along and doing everything on his or her own, on their own week to week. Synchronous would be you're following along with something, you're actually meeting for Zoom sections every week, and you follow along with that at the pace of everyone else in the course. Or we have face-to-face and some hybrid models of those too. But folks, you have to remember that you're responsible for all of these. If you took an online asynchronous course, it's your responsibility to follow through with all of these, including the discussion boards, reviewing the content files and folders, being up to date and complete with assignment schedules, everything else that goes along with those. All right. Remember, for this class, and I think this should be the last time I'm giving a reminder on these, but messaging is the instant messaging up here in D2L. If we need to discuss things via email, that'll be something we set up after we've messaged in instant messaging between yourself, and the instructor, not before. Now, the upcoming events for each class, this is where, as you recall, if we're looking at this section here, we have the dates laid out for each one of the things that is upcoming and due. It'll be slightly different from class to class, so make sure you're following your upcoming events, not just those posted on this video. It can be different from week to week. So some of the things that I want to remind you that can be different as well, slightly different notation. So when the overview launches, make sure you are reading the notes that are left here for your particular class. The videos may be the same or similar for 12-week online asynchronous sections, but certainly the notes and schedules will not be. Those are always unique to the individual class. So for this week in week 5, some sections will note they'll have this notation here with the one video. A couple of other classes have an additional note here that's a reminder of some things that were posted and stated prior, including an audio message. There should only be one video in some of the sections this week. If there's an additional video, just like last week for all of my sections, that will be posted and noted. And I did move those down into the schedule from the 4th week for sections that are now moving into the 5th. So those additional video, the week overview and additional, are both listed there. So remember, in your scheduling here, folks, not only is everything listed each week, what's due and when, but the videos are moved down. Down here, there's a trying to post grade notice. This was put up this weekend, and I left it in this course scheduling overview and the announcements for a few days. I was still trying to post a number of grades. I could review the grade and discussion boards, many of the submissions. There were a number of things here where the grading platform was kicking me out and not posting a lot of my things, so it was giving me a very hard time actually putting feedback on there. So some of you, I had to write some of the things in long form, and others I was able to leave audio messages and things like that for clarification. But make sure that you guys have reviewed these things when they post and listen to any audio stuff here. It really is getting to be problematic with some of the students who simply are not following along and keeping up. And this is true the last few years to a degree. This if we're talking fall 23 or winter 24, it's a little bit, right now we're in fall 23 that I'm at the time of recording, and might be an issue continuing into the winter. It certainly is now to a significant degree. But you know, we had discussion boards 1 with class introductions. The vast majority of all my sections both posted and responded to a classmate and did their diagnostics and gave me the forms. Vast majority of students. I think in each section I only had a few students that either didn't make these submissions or put them in late and had contact with me, and they either got a later partial credit because of a rationale that I accepted, or still got no credit on those for things that I simply couldn't accept. In the weeks that followed with the summary outlines, you know, I'm posting grades on these now. The diagnostics for most sections will be out, if not already, by the time of this posting, within the next day or two for most sections, followed immediately by the summary outline feedbacks. Remember, with the diagnostic for every section, you're going to have a posted diagnostic rewrite date. So right now I have it for this particular class for the 31st, which, if everyone's is posted, if you do have a posting that's up by the 16th or 17th, that gives you 2 weeks to redo that, and there should be no issue in this section. A couple other sections, it'll be beginning of November that those are due for diagnostics, but watch for that, because I give you a full feedback file on diagnostic, including your tutoring recommendation. Remember to watch for those, and if you want to review and then rewrite the diagnostic, you certainly can and submit one here. I will go through rewrites closer to the end of the term and add that credit back. It's usually later November that I get back to those and do rewrite credits. But the same thing with memoir summary outline. When you guys come this week, this section, if anyone in their 5th week, the only thing that is due coming up now is this weekend. You have to finalize the memoir, a final draft, and submit it. This is following your posting that you already did here in the discussion board, meaning that everyone, in addition to class introductions, posted a memoir to the review here, your full draft of your essay, and then classmates commented on those. So you should see that those are in there with your grades over the next couple of days. But I did get some students who did not post or comment in the memoir. Remember, that's the peer review you get for this. So if you're not reciprocating with classmates, you're not getting that feedback, nor are you giving it. Now, I will give everyone a feedback file on the summary outline that was submitted from the prior week. And once this weekend everyone submitted their rough draft, that's great. They also posted them discussion boards. Once you see the posting for this one that was due the prior with the summary and outline from that you began in week 2, once those feedback files are up for those, you review that, you get the content there. Everyone's going to be going through and finalizing a final draft. You should still be moving towards final draft whether you have any of those or not. And this would be the time for any of you who have not done so to start utilizing ASC tutoring. Once those final drafts are submitted, make sure that you have those in there on time. Once those are submitted, it will take me about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more for some of the sections, depending on how these files go. But I will give you a full feedback file on memoirs as well on the final draft, And once those are back to you guys, you will also get the opportunity to rewrite this final draft. So in the opening stages, again, diagnostic gets full feedback report. The memoir summary outline at least gets a feedback report where I comment on the major details and often even leave an audio. And then in the final draft, there will be a review and you'll have the opportunity to rewrite that. So 2 rewrites you get opportunity for in the semester. After that, we move into rhetorical analysis. It will just be the feedback file. There will not be rewrites on those. So make sure you're paying attention to the things you're being marked for in diagnostic and memoir. This is a Comp 1 class for college composition, which means we should be focusing on just the content and format. It shouldn't be the professor going through and marking sentence level, grammar, mechanics, style, punctuation at a Comp 1 level. If you qualified and placed yourself into a 1510 Comp 1, but you still need resources and instruction in those areas, you are definitely going to need to rely on the Academic Support Center tutoring. Take your drafts through. I offer extra credit for them. Everyone has to do one for my class. Your tutoring recommendations will be posted on those diagnostics. I think in most of my sections I have 80-90% of the students that were already posted, and as I said, the next day or so for the rest of them. I just had a few more to add, an audio file here and there, and a couple other things I wanted to address. But this support service here that's offered to you guys under the tutoring, you have 2 sessions per week that are included in your tuition. And if you go down through here on the right hand side and you look at the tutoring schedules that are available, you see that it's listed with the campus, here's Royal Oak, or virtual. So this tutor here is available in both of these, on campus on these days and times, or virtual. And the instructors will list them in that way. So these are available to students all semester long, and these are included. They will help you with a proofread and revision. You don't have to go into a campus. You can do it, as I said, online. So that should be helpful for most, if not all, students. So make sure that you guys are following along with those. Other than that, as I said, week 5, it's finalizing that final draft. Make sure you have everything in on time. Make sure everything is complete and you're following all instructions in the Dropbox. When it comes to the template submissions, one of the bigger issues for the memoir summary outline was the fact that people made their own. You can't do that. You got to use the ones that I provide. They're designed in that way for a reason. I expect students to use them and adhere to those. Okay? That's part of the instruction, part of the requirement. In the weeks ahead, make sure that in this week 5, once you finalize this, make sure you guys are doing this reading. I don't refer to or assess these very often in particular circumstances, but they do cover all of these topic areas. And now that we're moving into rhetorical analysis, which is a bit more difficult for a lot of students to understand, if you haven't done the reading in the textbook, it will be difficult for you to understand, particularly the terminology that's being used. It's subject specific. So in that area, you may have some issues understanding what I'm referring to in some of the presentation and the overview, let alone the assignment instructions and guidelines there. Do not simply go to the internet looking for rhetorical analysis. And when it comes to that piece next week, it will be only YouTube available commercials that you're finding for me and submitting in that way. I need just a YouTube link for those. We'll cover that next week, but just make sure, folks, you're actually reading and covering that in the textbook. We'll be focusing on logos, ethos, and pathos as the types of rhetorical concepts, those areas. We will not be branching out further than that. We'll categorize everything in those 3 main topic areas for rhetorical concepts. If I start seeing language that points in other directions, I know you got it from somewhere else. All right? So that said, folks, I look forward to seeing the rest of the work. I should have, over the next few days, for most of my 12-week sections, most of the things posted up. If you have questions, most of you have been pretty good now about communication back and forth. Let me know here what the concern is through instant messaging, and I usually get back, as you've seen so far, within a day or two. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays are the days I typically do communications on those. Sometimes it lapses over, and particularly if we got a longer thread going or if I haven't had communication from you prior. All right? I look forward to seeing the rest of the work. Good luck this week.